these presentations are all going to be remote, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah, all of us. Morning, Professor Kalu, are you there? Professor Kalu, can you hear me? You're on mute. We can't hear you, you're on mute. Can you please unmute yourself? I'm sorry. Can you unmute yourself? No, you are on mute. No.
Okay.
He was on mute, right? Yeah.
But anyhow, I will go connect from here.
Okay.
Just check.
Okay.
Here, I am back. Let's get a try. Could you hear me there now?
Second.
Can you speak now?
Yeah, try. Let's try. I'm gonna speak.
No.
No. Let's try something different. I put off my earphones. Could you hear me? Yeah, great.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you so
it's
much,
the
Giuseppe.
problem of the system here. I'm trying to fix it. 1 second. Just give me a moment, please.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, can you speak now?
Yeah, here I am.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Great. Welcome. I said that I couldn't see in the room the colleagues Dahil Mohamed Ali and Ani Simonian, so I think we got to wait a few seconds before it starts.
Okay, we can wait a few minutes.
Sorry?
Do you want to wait a few minutes?
Yeah, we wait a few minutes and make a check with them because we are colleagues from the University of Trieste. So I will try to call them and ask them where they are. Dahil is there?
Yeah.
Dahil?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Ciao, Dahil, great to hear you.
Yeah, I'm good, Andrea.
Okay, so Dahil is still here, so I think that we could start this session. As first, thank you so much for being here. Give me just a second, sorry. Okay. As I said, thank you so much for being here in this session called Smart Ports. But sorry, in the room, I heard a bad feedback sound. So if you could please maybe switch off the mic there, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's all perfect now.
Okay. Okay. As I said before, this is the session Smart Ports 2026, and I would like to start with the intervention of the colleagues of mine, Dahir Mohamed Ali, and that works with Giuseppe Paduso in a paper entitled Economic Impact and Digital Payments on Smart Medium Enterprises in Emerging Markets, a bibliometric systematic literature review. So Dahir, the floor is yours. If you want, you could share your screen. You have more or less 15 minutes in order to present your work. And then maybe we will have a brief discussion and like Q&A.
Thank you, Andrea.
Welcome.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dahir Mohamed Ali. I'm first-year PhD student in circular economy at the University of Trieste. It's a pleasure today to present our study entitled Economic Impact of Digital Payment on the Small Medium Enterprises in Emerging Markets using bibliometric systematic literature review together with Giuseppe, who's my coordinator. In generally, in my presentation, I will briefly discuss the motivation behind this study, our methodology, and the main findings, and also the main policies that and the main policy of implication of small and medium enterprise in emerging economy. In general, as we know that digital payment are changing the way of business operate. Today, even small business using mobile money, digital wallets, and online bank. However, many small medium enterprises are still struggling to get access to a fund and modern technology service. These challenges are limited access, higher transaction costs, and those problems. So therefore, we want to understand where digital payments really help small medium enterprise growth and the improvement of their performance. Well, here we talk about there are already few studies about digital payments and financial technology, but that evidence, the evidence is scattered and fragmented. So some studies basically focus on mobile payment and other financial inclusions, and therefore it's difficult to see the big picture of how financial technology participate or improve financial development and businesses. So we need to answer those questions. What are the research? What is that research is studying? which studies are the most influential so far, and how this research evolved over time for the last 9 years, because of our study start from the 2016 until 2025. So the last 9 years, how was that change happened? Um, the other thing is research objectives. So our research objective was simple. So first we want to know the main research topics. Second, we want to understand how these topics change over time. And the third one, we identified the most influential studies and also countries contributing most to this research. Finally, we will talk about and we will see it, our suggestion of the future research direction in the final part of that recommendation. Another important part in our study we considered for these two theories, which is which is more important to study. The first theory is technological acceptance model. It simply says that people adapt technology when they think it is useful and it can be used easily. For example, if a mobile payment saves time, as we know, it saves time, and also reduce transaction costs because of it reduces cash handling or cashless. So the small business owners are more likely to use them for this method. So this theory combines the adaptation and the usage of this uh, theory, how can be reduces for the problem of the transaction costs and waste because of collecting or collecting that money directly. It's a problem. It takes time consuming. Also, you need to check whether this transaction, the payment is or the cash is like one. So you need to check more. So the second one is explains how technology is spread. For example, if one business successfully use digital payments, so other businesses observe the benefits and then begins to adapt same or similar technology. So this is why digital payment system has grown rapidly in many developed countries. Um, Here we use our methodology and the process of that of also data collection process. We conduct bibliometric systematic literature review as I mentioned. So we collect our data from the Scopus. So we started with 530 articles from the Scopus database. And then before we started Prisma screening process, we used ABS, which is Certified Association of Business School. Is a ranking system which is the quality of journalists in business and management sector. So in order to get high quality journalists, so we applied that process, and then after applying ABS ranking, which is we used the rank of 1 to 4 star, then we got 336 journalists. Then we started with screening one by one. Then 134 of them were excluded because of they were irrelevant to it was not relevant to our main area. And then finally we get final sample of 102 studies, and then we use these three softwares for the different analysis. Then we will see for the following, which is fossil fuel and also GIS application. The first part here, you see that we talk about the publication trend started from 2016 and 2025. When you look at the chart, you see that it's gradually becoming for the last 3 years after COVID-19. For example, the biggest growth happened after COVID-19 because of the business increasingly rely on digital transactions. So then you see after 20 until 24, 25, it is gradually increasing. The second part of analysis we did is this one. We use our keyword occurrence, then we analyze this, we make how it is connected as networkingly. They were related to these keywords. So when you see here, the most frequented word is financial technology, digital finance, and financial inclusions. So this tells us that the researchers are mainly interested in how digital technology improves financial access and business management. And then we applied for the thematic clusters here. We found for the 5 major research time. The first review has grown from simple study of digital payment adaptation. You see the first one, towards the broader issue, which is innovation and financial inclusions, and then small medium enterprise reliance. So you see that this changed from this topic, which is the board, until it becomes at cluster 5, which is financial literacy and capacity, which is investigates whether business owners have enough financial knowledge to use technology efficiently. Also, here we got bibliometric coupling of influential articles. We select this 4 articles. When you look at the chart, you see that citation we consider it for the citations linked, total, strength linking, normalization citation. So you see that the first author, which his paper is entitled with the impact of financial technology on banks and credit professions to small medium enterprises. The citation is not important here, but we consider for the other 3, especially TLS. You see that this paper has linked to the 19 other papers, so they share for the similar bibliographic citation together. And this TLS is 41, and normal citation is 2.7328. So you see this is the first one. The second one is similar, so 2022, this paper, and it has similar weight. So the main thing is that this is the highest, they receive the highest attention, and these findings show that mostly they focus on financial technology, how it improves to the access to credit, increasing efficiency, supporting entrepreneurship, and strengthening small enterprise survival. This one also shows institutional collaboration in the field based on the different fields. So you see that business and management and economics and finance contributed more than 80% of our our study discipline come from, while the social science and computer contribute the remaining part of our study. So this shows that digital payments are not only financial issue, but also technological and social issue. It should be considered also. Here we showed, we presented for the geographic distribution based on for the countries. And you see that the most studies come from the green part, which is maybe, I don't know if you can see it, is China, India, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And then, however, there are few studies from Africa and Middle East, and some of other countries are not sufficient for data. This also is the thematic evaluation. It's one of the most important, which shows the trend of the last 10 years of previous studies or treasury review made by research for the last 9 years related to this topic. You see that from 2016 until 2019, the research focused on financial technology and crowding fund. Most studies focus on also financial innovation, digital payment, and financial literacy. So you see that the research from 2020 to 2022, the research shifted from here, financial technology, to mobile money, financial inclusion, and what happened after COVID-19. And the final one, until 2023 and final year of 2025, the research focused on financial innovation, digital finance, and financial literacy. So here, this part also, we talk about the final part. Here, we talk about the discussion and implication of our study. The evidence suggests that digital payment has helped small medium enterprises reduce costs of transaction and improves access to the finance and become more competitive. However, governments also have an important role here. Better infrastructure and stronger regulations and improved financial literacy are necessary to maximize that benefit. For this part, in conclusion, digital payment becoming an important drivers of small medium enterprise development in emerging markets. So they support financial inclusions and also innovation and business growth. However, future is considered for the future research. More research is needed, is still needed, especially in Africa and Middle East, and also to focus on topics related to the blockchain and digital finance and AI. So that's to understand the causal relationship between these payments and business performance. Thank you. If there's a question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dail, for this presentation and for the detailed consideration about the evolution of small medium markets through this bibliometric research review. Are there some questions from the room?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you so much. Dahir, so I would make you a question. Based on your conclusion, I mean, I would like to stress a little bit your conclusion. Going deeper and deeper, what you could see as the future forecasting of this study, and what could be the next implication of your study, and what do you want to do next about starting from your consideration related to this bibliometric analysis?
Yeah, in my next move might be to relate it to the how financial technology is related to the AI, artificial intelligence, and also because of also digital currencies. People nowadays more familiar with using for the digital currency for the coming years. So maybe the next I will focus on for that digital and artificial intelligence, how it can contribute to the financial payments, and also maybe cybersecurity is another issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important because of in order to secure this payment, how it's like be kept. So that three area are the most maybe interested area for the company. Maybe one or two of them I will focus on.
Okay, thank you so much. Now it's up to me for the next presentation. Could you see my screen? Give me a feedback. Could you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yes, now we can see.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Andrea Gallo, and I'm a research fellowship at the University of Trieste, and I'm here to present this study, process-oriented digitalization in the port system, evidence from the port of Trieste. This study has been carried out with Professor Giuseppe Boduso, also there professor of Trieste in economic geography. And where we want to start? I got to start to explaining that this paper has been carried out starting from a research project that we developed inside of the PNRR framework, so the set of investment of resilience and recovery of the Italian government. And we faced some problems related to the smart ports and the port transition in this case. And we got to start considering that the port environment is affected by three main transitions that we got to take in consideration in this moment. The first one, of course, is the green transition, so-called. So all the elements related to the reduction of the negative externalities and emissions and so on and so forth. The second transition that we got to take in consideration, of course, is the return of geopolitics in some ways, because every day we read the newspaper, we read about shocks, we read about problems in different parts of the world, we read about disruption, and we read about stress of the
Sorry to interrupt, Professor Gallo. We
Yeah.
actually can't see your screen.
You couldn't see my screen. Okay, that's a problem. I tried to fix it. Sorry. Sorry for that.
Hold on.
Okay, I try to make something different. Okay, now probably you see the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I was saying that the port environment is affected by three different main transition. Okay, the first one is the green one. The second one is, of course, the geopolitical transition. So the return of geopolitics inside to the transport sector. We read all the days newspaper related to shocks about disruption, and also to problems inside of the different choke points that has some local implication and then translated in global implication. And choke points means bottlenecks, and those bottlenecks also, we found some bottlenecks also in the digital transition. The digital transitions is the one related to the digital problem and digital evolution of the port systems, where the bottlenecks of the system represent still inside of a port, something to address and to study and to take into consideration. As I said, we carried out this paper inside of a more complex research work that we addressed with Professor Giuseppe Boduso, applied at the case of the port of Trieste, where we try to implement some digital solution that we are going to see later, in order to make more efficient a part of the digital chain of the transportation inside of the port of Trieste. Where we start? We start from some consideration related to the literature review, in particular related to the port digitalization process, that consider three different progressive levels inside of the port consideration. The first one was the dematerialization of the information flows, so converting the papers document, the sheet documents inside of some electronic documents in order to exchange data, exchange information, and so on. The second one, the second phase of this progressive evolution of the digital transitions is related to the process organization inside of a port. So how the stakeholders deal and communicate among each other inside of the port system. And that's a real point of friction inside of the the port, because the exchange of information and the interoperability of different platforms that needs the ports in every day are a real important problem to solve in order to solve those not bottlenecks that we were talking before. And the third one are some consideration related to the port governance. So here we face the consideration related, for instance, to the digital twin of port environment. So something that rise the level, that skyrocket the level of complexity and also of the digital solution. Here we could talk, for instance, about fully automatized terminals, digital bidding, and stuff like that. So it's very a higher level of complexity to solve. And under this point of view, the port community system, the PCS, got probably the most important central role inside of this kind of system, because it's in some ways it's the connector among all the different stakeholders inside of the port environment. That could be terminalist operator, could be a railways operator, port authorities, forwarders, and other agent that works there. And again, there are a real important problem in terms of interoperability among the different application and platform that is used by all these different actors, and that got to communicate in some sense with the port community system. And that's a real problem that we have seen here. Just in order to set in the context of our analysis, we got to consider that we take into consideration the Port of Trieste that got some specific characteristics, okay, inside of its system. As first, it is a free zone regime in a part of the port. The second consideration is that it's a port that handle a lot of train in terms of share of freight handled by train. We are more and more higher than the share, the common share inside of the different European seaports. And then other specific aspects are the presence of a strong ro-ro routes, the so-called highway of the sea that depart from Trieste and arrive in Turkey, or depart from Turkey and arrive in Trieste, that handle more or less 360,000 of truck per year. That are just some data. Just to give you a dimension, the Port of Trieste handle more or less 60 million thousand of tons per year. So this flow of truck are very important, okay? And also here we got to carry out that the Sinfomar, so let's heard about Sinfomar. It is the port community system of the Port Authority of Trieste that got several different modules inside of it, about terminal operators, about customers, about forwarders, about carriers and railways operator, about peoples and statistics. So it is a real complicated port community system, a real advanced port community system that we face in this study. Sorry for the gameplay with Word. Again, about the context, it's important to point it out that inside of the Trieste port system, we got one dry ports that own two different sites, okay, that you could see here in this picture. And in particular, these two sites serve as in some ways logistic buffers, okay, for the trucks that are departing and arrival to the ports. It's important for what you're gonna see later. I mean, it is like a buffer zone for the freights into the backport area. So the freight doesn't stay and doesn't stop. Not all, but part of those freight and those flow of truck doesn't stop inside of the port, but stop inside of these two dry ports located in the backport area. Just to talk a little bit about the methodology that we address in this study, we follow a three-phase approach. So in the first phase, we try to understand what was the digital process with a desk research, try to carry out what are the best practices inside of the European system, almost the global system. We know where are located the most prominent ports inside of the world system, such as in Far East, and some best cases are located in North America, and of course the ports of the Northern Range are very important under this point of view. And so we started the study carrying out some consideration about the best practices inside of the port system. Then we move further inside of the identification of the gap inside of the system, and it's happened through a set of unstructured interviews inside of the port stakeholders. And then the third phases have seen the development of this digital solution in order to try to fix this gap that we identify into the second phases. As I said before, inside of the first phase, we started from a huge review of literature of best practices of how it's work the port community system inside of the port of Trieste in order to map the situation. Fundamentally, as happened in several different research projects, we try to implement as is to be analysis. Okay, so trying to see how it is the situation right now, and then carrying out the analysis later. Then we move further into the second part with a set of interviews between the different operators, and in particular, we have interviewed the port authority, we have interviewed the railways operator, the railway shunting operator inside of the port, some terminalist operator, and other. And we identify a real challenging operation, okay, that is the allowances to the green light of it is the allowances of the truck located in the dry port, in the back port area, to go inside of the terminal in order to depart from the port of Trieste. In order to give a truck the allowances to enter inside of the terminal, okay, terminal operators get to follow a real complicated operation that starts from email with the booking system. These emails are put inside of the terminal operation system, takes the information, put all the information that you carried out inside of the port community system of the port of Trieste, and then you authorize the truck to arrive inside of the terminal, and then recap all the information inside of a different Excel file. So you understand that this kind of operation could be really problematic, okay, because you need more or less 7 minutes. You could handle some manual error of putting the data inside of these different passages among the system. You got an application of the different information. There's not an integration among the mails about the terminal operation system and about the port community system. To understand that there is a high risk of error. It is non-integrated and non-interoperability systems. And so it's a problem also in terms of efficiency that we got to improve. And that is what we kind to try to solve with the implementation of this digital solution that I'm going to present to you shortly. And fundamentally, we develop a sort of orchestrator, okay, that try to put together all the different sources of information based on some AI integration. So it used the artificial intelligence inside of the port system in order to create an ecosystem that collaborate among all these different software and tools. What's happened there? So we eliminated the excess use, we eliminated the overlapping of this different process. We try to solve this kind of problem. And what you can see here is the specification of what we have done. That's the screen recording of. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know why it's not working, the video, but we got some technical issues. The point here is that I couldn't show you the video because it's not working, but the point here is that there is the green traffic light access. So in order to have the access to go inside of the port, this red light, this traffic light got to become green, okay? And so fundamentally, you got to follow a process that is go inside of the terminal operation system, and that is the representation of the CONE system, that is the terminal operation system of a terminal inside of the port of Trieste, Once you go inside of the terminal operation system, you search the booking that you received by mail. Once you found the booking, you carried out all the information. You got to put all this information inside of the SINFOMAR system, okay? And once you put all this information inside of the SINFOMAR system, the lights became finally green, okay? So it's quite, and then the last part is to use an Excel file as recover all of this information.
Professor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. Your screen is frozen.
Slide 1.
Sorry?
Your screen is frozen. Can you reshare it? I'm so sorry.
No, my screen is shut down. Okay. Probably now you could see my screen again.
Yes.
Slide 4.
It's still working? I mean, because probably...
Yeah, you're on slide 11.
Okay. As I said before, you got to make green these traffic lights, and so you have to follow and attend this complex procedure because you have an application of information. Okay, so you got to follow several different steps in order to allow this green light to become. Sorry, you got to allow this light to become green. Okay, here we have a traffic light, and it got to become green in order to access to the port environment. And fundamentally, it's a complicated system because you have a lot of different passages that fundamentally we completely automatize inside of our pilot action. So if before we estimated a time for the authorization of a single track and then I arrived to the result, given also this technical delay, arrives the information to the result. If before we spend more or less 7 minutes in order to allow to a track to enter inside of the ports after all these steps, with the introduction or with the testing of this pilot action, we reduced drastically the time. So we passed from 7 minutes to more or less 14 seconds for the authorization, for given the authorization of a track to enter. And inside of these 14 seconds, there's also the time needed for the human control that all the data that the artificial intelligence has put inside of the system is right. So there is a drastic reduction in terms of operational time. There is a lower risk of human error. And we have seen how parallel information channels overcome through an operational centralization of this tool. And therefore, we could say that it's not simply about we are not facing just the problem of interoperability. There are several different problems that we can address inside of this system, of this tool. And again, the real challenging question is the interoperability of all these different set of information. So the standardization of the information flows on one hand, and the integration of different tools on the other. And that's real challenging and main points inside of this kind of system. And also, we are talking about interoperability again. That's a real important point. And what we have done using this tool is not to force the interoperability inside of this system, but the basic idea is to add a tool that overlap all the different systems and try to collaborate and operate without the using of different APIs and so on and so forth. And it is important to point it out that I am not a technician inside of this kind of system because we cooperate inside of this program with the Prodigy's Technologies company that is a software house based in Trieste that try to help and work with us in order to develop this orchestrator, finalize to implement some digital solution inside of the port environment. I would thank you a lot for your attention, and if there are any questions, I am more than available to show you, to reply to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any question from the room, from Thank you, Pedro.
No, I don't think there are any questions from the.
Okay. Thank you so much. Then I would pass to the next presentation, and we will have a very little inversion, okay? Because now will be the turn of Annie Simonian. Annie, could you hear me? Are you ready? Annie? Annie, could you hear me? Yeah, great, Annie.
I hope my voice is clear.
Annie, don't worry. I got several different technological issues, so we know you're better than me, so don't worry about that.
Sorry, just
Yeah, don't worry. It's fine.
okay.
Okay, I would like just to introduce Annie Simonian, again from the University of Trieste, and she's going to present her paper entitled Backlog Trap, Congestion and Sustainable Transition in Port System, a System Dynamic Approach. So, Annie, we are very curious to hear you.
Yes, just Andreas.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm not sure if the screen is visible for you.
No, it's not.
No, it's not working still.
Okay, just a minute. Sorry about this. Just a minute. Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, here it is. You could see in your screen. It's perfect.
Okay. Sorry for this. I'm very sorry. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Annie Simonian, and today I am pleased to present our work entitled Backlog Traps, Congestion and Sustainable Transition in Port Systems, System Dynamic Approach. This research was carried out at the University of Trieste together with Professor Giuseppe Borrosso. In this presentation, I would like to discuss an important question. Specifically, why do ports continue to experience congestion and struggle to achieve sustainability, even though everyone agrees that sustainable transition is necessary? Our research suggests that the answer of this question lays not only in infrastructure or funding, but also in the internal dynamics of the system itself. Here we can briefly see the highlights of the presentation. Today, ports are under pressure from several directions at the same time, and global trade continues to grow, which means more cargo is arriving every year. At the same time, ports are expected to reduce emissions and become more sustainable. Unfortunately, these two objectives often conflict. When competition increases, managers naturally focus on solving today's operational problems, and as a result, long-term investments in sustainability are delayed, and this creates a cycle that repeats itself again and again. To investigate this question, we use system dynamic approach. We selected this methodology because ports are classic example of complex systems. They involve many actors, many decisions, and many feedback effects that evolve over time. And system dynamic approach allows us to move beyond isolated events and understand the mechanism that continuously generate congestion. Our model is built around two fundamental processes. First describes how backlog evolves. The second describes how system capacity changes over time. And the interesting part is the behavior they generate. When operational pressure becomes too high, decision makers redirect their attention and resources towards immediate problems. In other words, they start fighting today's fires instead of preparing for tomorrow. This is exactly what we define as backlog trap. The more congestion increases, the less capacity remains for strategic investment, and which eventually creates even more congestion. Since ports evolve with different stakeholders, we also include port authorities, terminal operators, rail operators, consumers, and logistics providers in the framework. To better understand these interactions, we represent them using causal loop diagrams. The first diagram illustrates the general mechanism. The one reinforcing loop continuously amplifies congestion, and the other two balancing loops attempt to restore ability to maintain stability through investment and operational improvement. However, these balancing mechanisms require time. Congestion usually develops much faster than investment decisions can be implemented. We then adapted this structure specifically to the port of Trieste, because Trieste depends heavily on rail transport. Even relatively small rail disruptions can quickly spread across the entire port system. We selected the port of Trieste for several reasons. It is one of Europe's most important multimodal gateways and plays a strategic role along the TEN-T corridors. And at the same time, its geographical constraints limit traditional infrastructure expansions. This makes operational coordination particularly important. Our model therefore introduces an additional governance feedback loop. The results suggest that better coordination among port authorities, railway operators, customs, and terminal operators can improve performance even before major infrastructure projects are completed. We discuss how agent-based modeling could complement system dynamics by representing the behavior of individual actors inside the system. And to sum up, we can say that, first of all, congestion is not simply an infrastructure problem. It is a systematic phenomenon generated by interactions between operators, governance, and decision makers. Second, backlog traps explain why ports often remain locked in reactive management cycles. Third, improving coordination among stakeholders may produce faster benefits than infrastructure expansion alone. And combining system dynamics with agent-based modeling provides a promising framework for supporting more sustainable port policies, which we are going to discuss our further works by giving more empirical proof of this. Okay. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open for the questions.
Thank you, Annie, so much, Annie.
And sorry, I just recognized that you were not able to see me. Okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Annie. It was very interesting. Are there some questions from the room?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So congratulations on your work. It's very interesting to see reality like the port of Trieste modeled with the system dynamics, and congratulations to recover the work of Forrester. And I was not seeing these diagrams for, I don't know, for 20 years or something like that. And I think it's quite ambitious. And I'm looking forward to follow your work, and I'm very also curious about how are you getting data to improve this kind of approach and the simulations. It's really ambitious. I wish you all the luck, and I'm very keen to follow your work.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Oh, and sorry also for not switching on the camera, but I am sparing the bandwidth here in the conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your attention.
Yanni, as first, thank you so much. I think that one of the main issues has been stressed out also in the question. It's how would you process with the data collection, with the consideration about the next step that you want to investigate further. So how you plan to implement the agent-based model and to collect the data?
This is the question we are currently planning to work. Of course, the data collection will be data. As I see it, we are going to make questionnaires and directly asking stakeholders and other participants mainly it will be first.
Okay. So you would like to deal with primary sources that be a problem, but of course we are going to try to do that, of course. Thank you.
It will be primary data collected by questionnaires.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Other question? Curiosity, whatever? Okay, now it's time for Giuseppe Boduso and Ginevra Balletto is going to present their study entitled City and Sport Proximity Planning Among Green Networks and Commons. Giuseppe, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would also ask you if you can see my screen, and particularly if you can see my presentation.
Yeah, we've seen both your screen and your presentation.
Great. So I learned from who came before me, so I managed to not to fail into technical issues so far. Okay. First of all, Andrea, thank you very much for giving me the floor and also for inverting the order, inverting this final order. Thank you, Annie, also for agreeing that and for allowing me to to close actually this session. Okay, so the paper that I'm presenting together with Ginevra Balletto is focused on, as anticipated, on cities and sport, proximity planning among green networks and commons. That is actually a part of an outcome of some research that we have been carrying on during the recent years related to a mixed set of issues related to concerning the urban planning, and with particular reference to human activities across space, and particularly current issues related to green and the sport activities. The focus here, in particular, is to combine, in which terms actually a sport activity, health, and urban form can actually be combined, and in some way propose some operational suggestions in terms of planning, particularly to address the growing issues that will be related to health, particularly if we consider that at least the Western population is actually aging quite fast, and the urbanites are more and more widespread, and therefore people living in urban areas are expected to grow, so that the health issues are related to these people. So there is a general need to combine different kinds of perspectives within urban planning, and generally speaking, urban planning activities are done for healthy people and for a certain kind of people, a certain category of people that are actually wealthy, that are in a productive age and are actually able to move with having a certain ease. In that terms, the focus that we are actually following here, it is that related to the presence of the urban green, the spaces that are actually available for walking and for carry on healthy activities like sports. And at the same time, the idea is also to analyze, to understand what are the parts of a city that are actually available and walkable within the urban the urban fabric. To do that, the idea is actually to combine different perspectives and different instruments, including GIS spatial analysis, as well as heat maps derived from bottom-up registered activities like the sport traces, like those that are actually recorded by popular sport apps. Okay. Some overview. We actually perform to do that. We perform two different kind of surveys. One on recent literature, and the other one on the different reports that have been done and produced, particularly in Italy, related to the quality of life in urban areas in Italy. Some general remarks that can be actually summarized as that in any case the post-pandemic period witnessed a rise of outdoor physical activities in both formal and informal spaces. Actually draw the attention towards non-standard areas, actually non-standard spaces dedicated to to sport, to outdoors sport activities. At the same time, there is a quite urgent need, and it can be experimented actually in these days, related to heat waves, and particularly the urban heat islands, something that is particularly visible in cities, and that the green networks and green infrastructure can be one of the planning instruments to be actually used to address and to minimize the effect of such issues. The presence of green networks and infrastructure, as well as the paving as one of the planning activities, also recently claimed by local councillors in Italian cities. It is something that can be also coupled with the sport as a social urban practice. Sport, in fact, integrates active mobility, social interaction, and restore the environment into everyday life, also well beyond specialized facilities. Sportsmen generally use the cities in very different forms, and not just the dedicated areas and spaces that are actually planned for that. So literature actually highlights a need for an integrated urban plan in which sport, greenery, and mobility can be actually integrated, supporting resilient cities through proximity, workability, and access to green spaces. Okay, we can go quite rapidly through this. Okay, what is the situation in Italian cities? Apart from the different ranking of the different cities that can be different according to the different reports, some general conclusions can be actually found out in the different reports that are also listed into the paper. The sport city is an integrated ecosystem, which sport participation, green infrastructure, and public health are increasingly linked to the urban quality of life. The urban greenery is seen as a functional land, not just as a decoration, but more and more seen as a strategic infrastructure, particularly related to the need of adapt cities to climate changes and health protection. At the same time, Italian cities represent stronger spatial disparities. North and central Italian cities perform better in sport and green indicators, while many southern cities remain below adequate green space thresholds. On the other side, climate appears better in southern cities than it actually happened. As a matter of example, in northern cities, particularly in those related to the Po Valley area, that actually represent in autumn and winter seasons have particularly dramatic levels of concentration of pollution, given both the presence of human activities and the natural characteristics of the geographical space of limited amount of air circulation. Okay, the elements that actually need to be considered in urban planning, that we actually try to model in some way, city as a framework for daily health. On one side, I need to map what are the spaces that are actually used for the outdoor physical activities, and therefore try to represent, to spatially represent the areas that are actually needed to be observed in terms of the what uses are actually done at cities, to highlight the presence of green spaces that can be also integrated by the general availability of data related to trees coverage, also in urban areas. Sport City as a planning device, particularly to highlight what are the area of the street sports, and two concepts important also in terms of this paper: walkability at the center of proximity planning. Therefore, in some way, moving the 15 city model related to the to indicators of walkable access to different services, and the mapping of the urban voids as barriers to proximity. Our cities are walkable, but generally speaking, there is a car-driven orientation of the spaces that are actually walkable. And in many cases, we have some important urban voids that are either blocks or sets of blocks waiting for urban conversion, or in any cases, some enclaves that in some way work as anti-common goods. Here we go to observe the two case studies that are based in Cagliari, two mid-sized Italian port cities, one in the northeast of Italy, the other in the south of Italy, in Sardinia island, being compared particularly because certain mood towards the outdoor activities, some similar characteristics in terms of being port cities with important waterfronts, in both cases undergoing important planning activities, and seafronts seen as port corridors. Through the years, both Trieste and Cagliari have been awarded a high Italian Sportiveness Index, and also the award of European City of Sport. We also observed what is the walkability big buildings index. This is an index that has been developed in past works done by Ginevra Balletto and myself in the past, related to the composite index measuring the effectiveness of intervention from porosity, accessibility, and attractiveness. Let's go and have a look to the case studies that are actually the two cities in which actually we are mapping the pedestrian urban traces and the cities. In the case of Cagliari, the 3D view, and the 2D view, in which actually we have a look to where actually the different sport practitioners are actually located, and we can spot the central parts of the cities. Zooming into that, we can observe the case of Cagliari, and we can also map the presence of some enclaves that actually are present in the area, and in particular the waterfront area as the most walked part of the city itself. This can be also combined with the project ongoing, with the planning projects ongoing related to greening of the waterfront. This is a representation of the rendering of the actual process of planning around the waterfront, carried on particularly by two different actors: the municipality of Cagliari and the Port Authority of Cagliari, which are actually developing two different projects within the same area. Similar picture can be observed for the case of Trieste. Here also we can observe a certain percentage of activities performed in the city center, and particularly along the waterfront, both the urban waterfront and the newly to be refurbished waterfront in the old port area. That is actually earmarked for important redevelopment, particularly in a green dimension. And once again, here we can observe the enclave effect of the ongoing work in terms of the block that this major work area, it is actually given to a high presence of outdoor activities performed in many cases in a very informal way into the urban area. What this actually helps us to suggest for the future, for future development, is the use of GPS traces as urban evidence, the highlight of dense corridors of everyday sport, something that has to be considered in planning activities, particularly in terms of the spaces used by people. Digital traces in some way are signature of a certain kind of accessibility and the need of considering the temporary urban enclaves as barriers to this kind of movement. A conclusion: sport to be seen as a common good, particularly because street sport reclaims a collective space, and particularly because it actually allows a general increase of the social value that urban spaces can have if actually these activities are more and more planned. City is not just a vector for sports, but it shapes accessibility, safety, inclusion, environmental comfort. In this sense, sport and the sport-related planning activities can be actually used to foster not just activities that are dedicated to sport practitioners, but generally speaking, for all of the other categories that in some way can benefit for a more healthy green city. I thank you very much for your attention so far, and I'm open to questions that you can have.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. Very interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the room or from online?
Well, it's not a question, but it's a comment that I'm very happy to see the data collected from the tracks of the people being used to identify the interrupted tracks, because I think this is a very relevant information for municipalities to know where these barriers exist and to allow them to intervene if they consider it useful. So it's an example of how to crowdsource data can be fed to political decisions, and it's very interesting. Congratulations, it's very interesting.
Andrea, non ti sentiamo.
Thank you. Sorry. No, I mean, I don't know what's happened, but Professor Baluso looks freeze. I mean, okay. Thank you, Giuseppe, because you're coupled right now inside of the meeting. Okay, we don't know what's happened, but there was a comment. Giuseppe, could you hear us?
Yes, sorry, but my battery died, so and I'm very sorry for that. So I had to move to my mobile. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you also see me? Because I have
we could hear you and see you, and everything is
okay.
But
okay.
I think
sorry.
you used the comment from Pedro. So Pedro,
yes,
repeat your comment.
I think that I just catch more or less half of the comment, and so if you can
Sure.
complete your comment. Sorry,
sure.
Pedro.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
So I think that it's very interesting to use crowdsourced data to analyze it, to contextualize it, and to deliver it to the municipalities, to public authorities, because I think that this kind of crowdsourced information can help, crowdsourced data can help the municipalities and the public administration to take some decisions and about what they can do to improve citizens' life. So I'm very happy to see this, because I think it's a very clever use of crowdsourced data.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment, Pedro. Yes, well, it is something that we've been experimenting during the past few years. We need to model it a little bit more in depth, particularly with GIS tools and instruments, and as it was possibly visible for some of the rendering, actually the local authority is well, actually in two different directions. So in one sense, it's it's investing on green infrastructure and sport areas, but we more on spots, actually, on single spots, and less on a kind of network-oriented project. I mean, the different traces in some way show us a network-oriented use of the city, and in some way the green sport facilities are more than a network plan. They seem to be more planned as local spots that possibly in some way needs to be connected to one to each other. We have a bicycle routes, dedicated bicycle routes, but not all the cities actually so connected. So there is still something to do. And this terms, yes, some more in-depth contact with the local administration can be actually useful. And yes, it is also a good suggestion to proceed in that direction. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay, I think we are a little bit late on the program, 20 minutes more or less. So I would like to quit here this session and thank all the attendings, both on the room, both online, and thank you to all of those that present their works. Was, I think, very interesting. Thank you, and of course, hope to see all of you next year, maybe in presence. And again, thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.